Welcome.
Back. Hey, guys.
Switched it up on you. You're probably expecting Hannah's welcome.
Not only did we switch it up, but I know they're just dying to hear our voices after the catch-up week.
I know. But honestly, I feel like that was kind of good because, you know, if someone, like, Hercules excited, but, you know, like, because there's so many people that would be like, oh, I have, like, to catch up, you know, like, I have whole episodes. Like, I feel like...
No, there definitely have been times for me...
Or we listen to your favorites.
Yes, like, with a podcast or, like, something like that where I'm like, wait, can you slow down? Like, I'm trying to get caught up. So I think that we did everyone a favor. You're welcome.
You're welcome. We're just so considerate to our listeners. I don't know. You're welcome.
I mean, like, we're literally, like, the best podcast hosts ever.
Yeah. Humbly speaking. There's no one greater, and you guys are very blessed to have us.
So, you are welcome. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. We should jump into our high and low tide.
Yeah, it's been so long, so I almost forgot.
What do we even do?
How do we do this?
How do we talk? How do we what are our segments? Yeah.
High and low tide.
High and low tide.
We're starting with the highs.
Highs. Yes.
You go.
I'll go. My high tide actually. So guys, I started working again.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to apologize for my dramatic animals. I feel like almost every episode they make an appearance.
They're part of it though. They're literally like, it wouldn't be the same without them.
Because Hercules is obviously going nuts and he tries to open up the door handles, so I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you continue with your high tide.
You're good. Yeah, my high tide, so guys, I'm working again.
Ooh, she's a working lady, working 9 to 5. What a way to make
so real. More like 8 to 4, but yeah, guys. Ooh. So I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I work at like this local cafe coffee shop by my house. So I can like have the title barista now, which is so fun. Because I'm like over here making drinks.
That is so fun.
Honestly, yeah. No, I never thought I'd see the day. It's kind of funny, though, like, because they don't have it really written down, so I was really intimidated at first, because they would just, like, say things, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to remember this. But really, when you get in the hang of things...
You figure it out.
Yeah. And I feel so cool. Someone could be like, oh, I want, like, a strawberry matcha with, like, this cold foam. This... I was like, oh, I got you. Like, I know how to make that. Like, I literally am so impressed with myself.
I need to come and...
Dude.
You need to send me, like, the location so I can come and...
Yeah, it's so far from you, though. It's all the way up my house. That's the only thing, again, I do like, because it's only, like, 5 minutes from my house.
That's so nice.
Which is unheard of, because there's, like,
come
nothing
on Saturday or something.
My city.
When do you work?
Yeah. That's the only thing. I have been working Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Okay.
And then... Because Saturday and Sundays are, like, their busiest, like, slammed.
Yeah,
and
so
I'm like,
tough.
I don't even... Like, I don't think I'm ready for that.
Maybe I'll come tomorrow.
Oh.
Are you working tomorrow?
I'm working tomorrow. I'm only working in the morning tomorrow, though.
What time?
Opening. So, like, it doesn't open till 8, which is also kind of nice because most coffee shops open, like, ridiculously early.
6, yeah.
But this place, chilling. I also love that they close at 3. So then I have all my nights off. I never have to worry about that. But, yeah, 8 to, like, 1-ish. I think. It depends on the busyness.
Guys, I'm going to go and I'm going to rate... I'm going to leave a review.
This sucks. This is
on
so
Mia's barista skills.
Oh, gosh. Be like, I'm going to have someone else make it just so I can hand it to you.
I love that.
But yeah, so that's my high tide. It's been fun.
That is fun. Mm-hmm. My high tide is that Mia didn't say anything about it, so I'm a little salty.
Oh.
But me and Vlad deep cleaned this house. I'm talking pulling out the furniture from the walls, like... Vlad, fixed our baseboards to help prevent ants coming in because they were coming in through, like, the cracks of our baseboards. And, like, he, like, fixed all of that and sealed it off. And, like, we, like, wiped down every single surface. We got rid of some big pieces of, like, furniture. Like, we donated it because I was like, it's taking up space. We don't even use it. I don't like it. Like, I was in a purging reset mode. And then, like, in the kitchen, completely reorganized our cabinets and, like, made up for so much space. I, like, got rid of like 3 bags of clothes that I can donate. Vlad still needs to do that, but, like, we deep cleaned this house. And then on top of it, I spent a little too much money, but I kind of went on, like, a little Amazon shopping spree, and I bought, like, a bunch of new stuff for our bedroom, and it looks so much nicer now. So I feel like very calm and at peace.
Like a good reset.
Yes, because it was real bad before that, and then it was, like, bothering me so badly, and we literally took, like, 3 days and just did nothing from the moment we woke up until we went to bed, just organizing and cleaning all day long.
Dude.
and it paid off.
That's an investment. Yeah.
Because we both, like, I don't know, like, we just, like, I can't stand clutter. It drives me nuts. And our house is so small, so it's really easy to, like, build up over time as you just live life and you throw stuff or whatever. Like,
right.
You know what? There's no laundry on the bed.
No.
None. I got 2 weeks worth of...
something. I feel like I'm in a new house, honestly.
I'm telling you.
I feel...
This room didn't really get that much. I did, like, go through my closet and organize, and then I obviously put all... I hadn't done laundry in 2 weeks. My clothes were, like, filling onto the floor because my laundry basket was so full, and I got all of it done in 3 weeks, or in 3 days.
3 weeks.
3 weeks is nuts. 3 days, and I folded it all, put it all away.
Hey, that's, like, so satisfying. Like, you probably had, like, the best, like, when you just sat down after all that, looking around, lighting your candles. Lighting, I don't think that's a word. You lit your candles.
It was a really, really, really good feeling.
Yeah.
And my friend that makes sourdough gave us chocolate chip cookies.
Which is always a high tide, literally.
So good.
Any cookie ever. I had a chocolate chip cookie earlier, too. Chelsea was so kind. She brought me one.
You wouldn't be Mia without having a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh, thank you. What can I say?
All right, bring me down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so... Yeah, I'm going to bring you guys down. So, similar, I always like to obviously coordinate my high and low tide, because my low tide also kind of a combo, because it's related to my job. First of all, it's forced me to fix my sleep schedule, because I have to wake up pretty early. But the problem
that makes me very happy.
No. Because the problem is, I haven't, like, fixed it at night, so I'm just getting less sleep, because I'm still, like...
Okay, well, you need to fix that. I've been telling you to fix your sleep schedule.
I know. So you think it... Well, actually, I went to bed... Like, the earliest I've ever have last night. Well, not ever.
Was that, like, midnight?
Ever. 11 p.m.
Okay, that's actually pretty good.
That's actually really good for me. Good. Like, I literally... And I slept all the way up to my alarm. That was, like, at 8:15 this morning. So,
wow.
That was nice, because I think the problem is... I'll tell you what I know the problem is. Because on, like, my days off, I'm like, oh, I can sleep in tomorrow, so I purposely just stay up late, and I'm just ruining it, and then I have to wake up early, and then it's actually really bad.
I have dealt with that, too, like, over on weekends, because, like, there would be times where I'm like, oh, it's my only day to sleep in, so I want to take advantage of it, Yeah, and then it does throw off your whole, like, I'll feel worse. And now I've just kind of accepted, like, I've gotten, not as much recently, but I'm trying to, like, get back on track with my sleep schedule, because once I get consistent with it, even on the weekends, like, I'll wake up at, like, 7 a.m., but I feel completely rested and fine. And I'm like, you know what? If that's, for me, it's not really so much sleeping in. Right. It's just not waking up to an alarm. If I don't have to wake up to an alarm and I happen to wake up at 7 a.m., I still feel completely rested and good. It's the startleness of waking up to an alarm and interrupting your sleep that sets it all off.
That's so real.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah. So, gotta work on that. But that's not too bad. And then I started my latte art. It's so bad.
Hey, you gotta start somewhere.
So I know, but my boss was literally videoing me. My first ever one. It was actually horrible, but it was kind of fun because I did like a bunch one day, and you're like trying to figure out what the pictures looked like. One was like I kept seeing dolphins. One looks like a squirrel. One looks like, so that was kind of fun. But I really have to work on that because they're not servable at all. Like at all. Like I think but luckily they had me do the to-go ones. So because I just put a lid on it. Like I practiced, and I was like, all right.
That's
if
really
they open
smart.
it, then I don't know. But if they open it, I'm screwed.
I mean, to me though, if I opened it, I'd be like, oh, like the lid must have.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even. Bit.
Yeah,
it's
I
all
wouldn't
your
even
fault.
think about it.
Yeah. So, anyways, but that's been a struggle because I show up and I'm like, guys, like this is really bad. But
you ready for my low tide?
I am.
Now, this low tide could end up being a high tide. But it's gonna be a low tide for one of us.
It has potential. Oh yeah.
Me and Mia face each other this week in fantasy.
Yes, I literally...
in fantasy football.
Before we started recording, she was like, are we going to have the same low tide? I was like, I doubt it. I don't think you've been working on latte art lately. But yeah, you're projected to win right now, and I think I'm going to cry.
Let me just preface by saying I absolutely crushed it this week in fantasy.
She almost doubled her opponents.
Murdered.
Mine was really close. I actually won this past week too, but I was stressed. It came down to like the last player. Like,
yeah, that's so stressful. Fun but stressful. So I was like, all right, I'm like on my little winning high. I was like, who do I have to face next week? And then I see Mia Harper. And I feel like you have been consistent. I mean, I say consistently. It's we just finished week 2. But the first 2 weeks, like, you've been putting up like good amount of points. Like,
I'm 2-0 right now.
You've been really good. And I'm 1 for 1. I had 1 loss. It was pretty close, my first loss. And I mean, I'm putting up like decent points, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm intimidated to play you in fantasy. So we'll see. But
you're projected to win. It was like 57% to.
I was projected to win my first week 1.
I rely on the winning probability so much. Like, I was watching football on Sunday, and it would literally, this gave me a heart attack. I was like at 70% winning, and then something happens, and then I go down to like 23%, and I'm like having a heart attack, and like everyone around me saying like, literally stop. Like, you have so many, but like, I rely on it way too much. So then I have to like force myself to like actually look at the players, whatever.
Yeah, because here's what got me. So one of the players that I have for any of my football people out there, or for any of our international listeners, we're talking about American football.
Oh, just want to
preface the fact that we have to do that. We love our international people.
So true.
Anyway, we're talking about American football. So any of my people that follow American football, I have the wide receiver Ayuk on my team, and he's a very good player. The problem is that homeboy waited until the exact last moment to sign his contract, and he missed training camp. And so he's dropping passes, and they're also mad at him for missing training camp. So they have not been doing anything except running the ball. Yeah. So it's not even that he's doing bad. He's not getting playtime.
Yeah.
So that's what screwed me over in the first week, is because I was projected to win because he is such a good receiver, but he literally got 0 playtime. Mm-hmm. So he only put up, I think, 4 points for a wide receiver. That's really
bad.
Low.
That's really
like
bad,
a wide receiver should be at least putting up 10.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, honestly, almost like at least 15 if they're decent.
Yeah.
So it was like, that is what got me. That's what hurt me bad. So
I mean, he's on the 49ers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope this isn't the case because you're against me. But they don't have Christian McCaffrey now. Who's the other guy? They don't have Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, Deebo. Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of are running out of options.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and I know that it's supposed to get better as the weeks go. You know, so I'm hoping that he continues to get more playtime and all of that. So we'll see how he does with week 3.
Got patient.
Yeah, we'll see how. I feel like if by week 5, if they're still not, I might have to drop him.
I
need to get him out of there because it's just not working for me.
That's right.
But I still did pretty well this week too. Absolutely crushed it.
Yeah,
we crushed it. He's not gonna listen to this. We crushed it to a man that when he saw me and Mia come to the draft for fantasy football, he said, "Oh, I've never done this with women before."
Like, oh, okay. So I have to win now too.
So I have to win.
Yeah,
literally have to win.
It gives us that much more.
Also,
of a push.
he was my little brother's teacher, and they're both like fishermen. And so when I told Noah that I was playing him in fantasy, he was like, Hannah, he was like helping me. He was like, make sure that you put him in.
You gotta win.
And he was like, you've got to win. So I was like sending him screenshots of everything. And
Noah
didn't
was just win. You like
I annihilated. I was like, how's that for being a woman? And he's a Washington fan, so boo. He's in my division. So
no, I literally also I show up because I don't remember what I said. I said something about a shirt. And then he's like, oh, I know who's coming in last. Okay, who's 2-0 right now? Shut up. Literally shut up. So, yeah, we really want to win against him. We'll
continue to give you guys our fantasy updates that you didn't ask for.
Yeah, find out.
We'll let you
next
know
episode.
If
who won?
I won.
Me or Hannah?
Yeah. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways. But that's my low tide. So, you're going down.
Oh.
We're not friends this week.
Yeah, we're enemies.
And then we'll come back together.
Maybe, unless I lose.
Well, if you lose, then we're definitely friends.
Okay, no, I'm saying, like, I don't know if we will be. If I lose, I might have to, like, take a second, you know?
Well, that's fine. You have until next week, so you have a couple days to recover.
If I ever do. Because we'll also play each other again.
Yeah. Redemption, revenge.
For you. Anyways, love that. I'm gonna be taunting you every single time. I love the taunt thing.
Oh, it's so fun.
I had someone call me immature for using it, but I think it's so fun. I literally if I get the option to taunt my opponent, I'm going to taunt my opponent.
I go hard.
Literally.
Like, for sure.
Taunt. I love doing it when I'm, like, down 60 points, too.
Like, it makes me think of Kelly from The Office, and she goes, no, there's a difference. I don't trash talk. I talk smack.
Yeah. There's definitely a difference, so calm down.
Because the evidence is right there. My Office fans know. Anyway, so I'm very excited, though, for this episode. This has been something that I've wanted to talk about, and it kind of goes hand in hand with our motivation and discipline episode, which I'm so sad that the audio on that got messed up. But think of this as like the redemption for that. It's a different topic, but it definitely
is on the same umbrella.
It definitely applies, and I think discipline is key for the topic that we're going to be talking about. Right. So it kind of like, it's a continuation. Like we needed to lay down the foundation between the differences in motivation and discipline, and then from there we can talk about getting over some intimidation things when it comes to the gym.
When you get that discipline to go. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of discipline to go, for our mana,
we wanted to talk about church intimidation and just maybe being a little intimidated just by the church, whether you've been to church your whole life or going back if you've never been, just the idea of it. I mean, for both of us, we've been in the church so long that sometimes
I still have gotten church intimidation before.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like it's so prevalent no matter where you're at, you know? And a verse when you're kind of talking about the subject that I thought, like, doesn't even, like, it can speak for itself. It's found in Hebrews 10, and it's saying, like, therefore, brothers and sisters, since we have confidence, which I think is so special, that word that they use, to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus, by a new and living way opened for us through the curtain, that is his body. And since we have a great priest over the house of God, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart, with the full assurance that faith brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience, and having our bodies washed with pure water. And I think it's just so important sometimes to, like, really remember what the church is for. You know, what is the church if you're going to go? Because if you're thinking of it as, like, a social gathering, you know, which obviously there is some social community aspects that can be good, you know, that are purposeful. But if you're thinking of it as just, like, you're going just to, like, worry about what people are thinking about you, you know, or, like, how I'm going to be perceived. Yeah, exactly. That's, like, going to be so damaging, you know, because maybe you do go the first week and everyone is super welcoming, whatever, and then when it comes to, like, discipline, say you do go the next week and then something bad happens and, like, oh crap, that is where I've built my whole why I was going to church, why I kind of had this relationship with God, especially if you're building it through people, because we are so changing and faltering that there's just so much damage that can come from that. So I love just the idea, like, again, I use the words confidence. So we're not going in with confidence because, like, oh, I'm confident that I'm so good that these people are going to love me, you know? Like, I'm not going in because, again, people always have different opinions. They're always changing. They're always up and down, their moods or whatever, you know?
I also feel that people get intimidated because they have a wrong view of how God views them.
Exactly.
Because I think on the one side, there's the social aspect of the people that are there. And I definitely think, I mean, that's going to vary from church to church.
Right.
And I think it's important, just like with gyms, just like with schools or churches, one church does not represent all of them.
Yeah.
If you are someone that has experience with church hurt or you've had a bad experience, please understand that that is that one experience. It doesn't speak for the rest of the churches or the rest of Christians for that matter. You know, so understand that it's an isolated, you know, incident most of the time. Right. But I also think that people have a misunderstanding of God and his grace and love and how he views us, because I think for me that's where my church intimidation has come from, because I'm trying to think of the timeline. It was a little while back where, for whatever reason, it was when I was teaching and life was just like kicking me in the shins, man. Like I was struggling. I was really struggling being a teacher. I was pushed past my limits, like physically, emotionally, mentally, and I did not have it in me, which this is not an excuse. This is just where I was at to go to church on Sundays.
Right.
That was, like I had kind of mentioned earlier, that was like my one day to sleep in, my one day to fully rest.
Yeah.
Now I have understood that I find more peace and rest, of course, when I go. But at the time, I was so weighed down heavily, and I just wasn't. I let it slip, and it didn't become a priority. And then when I was like feeling conviction over that and wanting to get back into going to church consistently, I had so much intimidation because I was like, what if people judge me?
Right.
What if everyone's gonna be like, where have you been? Why haven't you been here? God's gonna be disappointed in me. I was feeling shame and putting that on myself and projecting as if other people are gonna do that.
Right.
And what's funny is that anytime I have found myself in a slump or in a lull or for whatever reason, I haven't gone to church. Every single time that I go back, it's nothing but warm welcome, open arms. There's never a sense of judgment or shame from the people that I go. And that's because, number one, I go to a good church.
Right.
And I've never felt anything but the same of the warm welcome, open arms from the Father.
Right, that's so
and,
good.
And like if you look back at the story of like the prodigal son, and like he didn't want to go back home, or he was ashamed because he was afraid of what his father was going to think, and his father was just happy that he returned.
Ran to him. And was like, I'm so happy you're home. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's the same way when we go back to church.
Yeah.
So if you are a Christian and you've grown up in the church, and I think sometimes it's like, which we've mentioned this before too, like when you grow up in the church, you take advantage, or like not take advantage, you don't realize what you have.
Right.
Right? And you kind of go through the motions with it, and then it's like, oh, it's just church, like it's fine or whatever. But I think that we should just realize like how blessed we are to be able to openly go to church and to take advantage of that community and that place of peace and that place to meet God. Not that you can meet God anywhere, but you know what I mean? It's a set time and place.
It's intentional.
Very
going
intentional
there to
time.
meet other believers.
And if you are someone that like, you've found yourself where you just haven't been going for a while and you're nervous to go back for those reasons, number one, if anybody shames you, I disagree with that. Like that's on them as a person. Mm-hmm. God is not shaming you. That's not coming from the Father.
Yeah.
That's a reflection of insecure people or people that are self-righteous and feel the need to judge.
Right.
Because there's a difference between people reaching out and being like, hey, like, where have you been? I miss you. Mm-hmm. Like, how are you doing? Okay, can I do anything for you? Because they haven't seen you, versus why haven't you been here?
Like you're a horrible person.
Yeah. There's definitely a difference. So just understand that like ultimately God's opinion is the only one that matters, and he is waiting to welcome you with open arms.
Right. And like you were saying before, like it's such a blessing to be able to go to church, and I love like this verse was saying like it's such a blessing that we can like have any sort of relationship with God. Like it's so saying true. Like the veil was torn into like, because in the Old Testament like God is so holy, so like they had to do all of these rituals, and like sacrifices and wear these holy garbs. Like there's so much leading up to just experiencing his presence, and I feel like sometimes we become numb to that fact because we can go to church and you're like, oh, I can experience the Holy Spirit like in my room, in the back, like anywhere, because of the blood of Jesus that has covered you. And I think although when you remember that, like I think it's so special when you realize the blood of Jesus not only like covers you so you can meet with him, it covers all of that shame and guilt. You're going under that like covering. God sees you. Like God sees you as redeemed and restored. Like that's so what you're going into church as. You're not going into it as like, obviously we do sin and we need the Lord to meet with us, but you're meeting with him knowing that you're a co-heir, that you are a son or a daughter of Christ. You're not going in as like a stranger that has to earn their way. Like, oh, I have to start going to church. Like, I think that's so, so important. And I think so many people get hurt by the church this way because they go just because they think like that's going to make them better. That's going to make them like more, God's going to like them more, but no, you know what I'm saying? Like God, there's nothing you could do that could make him love you more. So it's just doing it because he loves you so much. You want to love him back. You want to spend that time with him. You want to kind of utilize this amazing sacrifice and gift that Jesus has done, that you can have that relationship. I agree. And then even again, when it comes to like people perceiving you, you are covered by the blood of Jesus. You know, when Viet was preaching the other day, he talked about the story about this pastor's son that had a new girlfriend that like had a crazy past, you know, like slept around, whatever, and like people were like, I can't believe you're letting your son, you know, date her, whatever. And then the pastor said, like, if the blood of Jesus is good enough for you, why isn't it good enough for her? Like, you are new in Christ. Like, that judgment, there's so much hurt that comes from that. But when we realize the blood of Jesus that saved you saved that person that you may be judging, or, you know, someone may seem so perfect, they needed the blood of Jesus too, you know? Like, you all are going in as people in need of a savior. When you see it like that, I feel like there's just so much freedom that comes from that, because you're going already knowing that you have comfort with God, already knowing you have that authority that Jesus has given you, so then you can serve, so then you can be there, then in community. And I think it's so freeing that way, you know, because you are going to church because you love God, not because you need him to, like, you know, you don't need to do better so that he'll love you more. Like, you're just doing it, I know God loves me, I know I'm covered by the blood of Jesus, how can I just live life in service to him? So I feel like that's something, you know, I have to keep reminding myself, because the blood of Jesus is so, like, I feel like almost watered down, you know, like, so to speak, like, but it truly does save people. And I think that could be a huge way to, if we spread just that whole idea, I don't know, I think intimidation from the church could be a little lessened.
Yeah, I think you just have to ensure that you're at the right place and find your group of people. And I also think that church won't feel as intimidating if you get involved more and like, you know the people try to serve and try, you know, so you don't feel like a stranger, right? You know, because you're not,
right? It's supposed to be like a family.
Yeah. So, or even if it's not serving, but if it's, you know, going to the outings and meeting with the people there and developing,
just getting involved,
relationships, getting involved in whatever way that looks like, if it's serving or if it's fellowship, whichever, not just you know, on Sunday services, but if that's where you're starting, then that's awesome, like so awesome. And just understanding the way that God views you and loves you, and is not coming from a place of pointing, like wagging that finger and telling you shame on you. So I think once you have a better understanding of that, that can help a lot with the church intimidation factor, because I can completely understand why some people get really nervous. But I definitely think that, like most things, it might be scary at first, but the payoff is worth it.
Right. I agree.
So,
all right, now let's talk about, like,
the topic.
Yeah.
The topic of gym-timidation. Gym-timidation. We had to go have, like, a whole speech therapy moment because Mia couldn't figure out.
I literally was like gym-intimidation. I really struggle. No. I see, if I think about it too much, gym-intimidation.
No. Oh.
Gym-imitated.
Girl.
Okay. See, I start over, guys. Gym-timidation.
There we go.
Okay, I just have to repeat after you. I'm just not going to say it for this episode.
So, obviously, there's been, like, this is continuing in our health, fitness, CrossFit series, because it's obviously something that I'm super passionate about, and it's also something that I have experience with, so I feel like I'm educated enough to
speak on it,
speak on the topic. And it's good though, because again, kind of like how it was with the fitness, nutrition, and myths, like the fitness, nutrition, myths. I love that episode.
Same.
Because I love breaking down things that, you know, people unfortunately
I think
believe
we need a
sometimes.
part 2 on that one.
Like, I think there's definitely more. Dude. There's definitely more that we can talk about.
I was learning so much on that episode.
But what I loved about it, and any of our episodes where we've talked about the gym, is because of the 2 different perspectives that we bring to that. Because as someone that has been consistently now going to the gym for 5.5 years, but I still had to start at one point, and I remember very vividly what that was like and being a new person, and I have a lot of stories about that I want to, you know, share, because I think sometimes for someone that would be new talking to me about it, this is what we talked about in comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 30.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they already see that I'm over that hill of gym intimidation. And so it's kind of like, how do you know what it's like? But just remembering that we all had to start somewhere.
That's good.
And I think that even the most well-knowledged, most fit people still experience gym intimidation at times.
Right.
Or they once did at one point. I would say for most people. And I wanted to talk about it because I really feel like this is one of the biggest things that prevents people from starting their health journey.
For sure.
Like, the idea and the thought of going to a gym with other people and being so worried about looking dumb, not doing things right, having people stare at you, wondering what people think about you. I know that for a fact that is gotta be like 50% of the reason why people don't go. Yeah. Or don't start.
Easily, yeah.
Or they go once and they feel that, and then they don't go back.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because it's one of those things where there's no magic formula to have it secretly go away. But understanding how worth it is. And again, I think a lot of it comes from misinterpretation and misunderstandings of things.
Right.
So yeah, this topic's been on my heart.
Right.
For a while.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to agree. Like, not even speaking from personal experience, when you go online, like, because, like, even if you look up, like, fitness influencers or whatever, if I'm looking up, like, a certain workout to do, like, the comments will be like, oh, I can never do that. Like, that's so...
And too advanced.
Yeah, like, no. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems just impossible, I think even, like, from my personal experience, even if it was just, like Planet Fitness or something, that's almost worse sometimes than, like, I think, because, like, CrossFit, because I remember CrossFit, like, there's a coach leading you, Yeah. Like, you're not kind of just thrown in, like, to figure it out. But, like, if you go to, like, a normal gym, you really are. Like, you don't have, like, a set workout most of the time. The only reason I knew, like, any of the machines was because the first time I went to the gym, like, my dad, like, was teaching me, you know? Like, I could not imagine, like, going in completely blind because everything, like, it looks wild, you know? Like, and you just hold weights, and what do? Just, like, lift them? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I think also when it does come to even gym intimidation, it's not necessarily even just going, but, like, certain parts of the gym, I still don't even go to some parts, because it's so much easier to, like, first time I was going, I was just walking on the treadmill, like, the easiest things, because there's way less eyes over here than there would be over there, and I think in general this applies to, like, every area of our lives, but, like, we're just so overly, like, everyone's thinking, like, what are we doing? Like, I feel like we're just so self-involved, honestly. Like, what are people thinking about me? Which is a lot easier said than done, to just be like, oh, people aren't thinking about me. Like, I can just live, laugh, love, whatever. But I don't know. When those eyes, especially if they have their headphones in and people are just, like, locked in, you're like, oh, they're definitely staring at me. And they're like, this is weird. You just start to overthink a lot, especially if you're in your own thoughts, and you're listening to music. Like, it's a big topic, I would say.
Gym intimidation is hard. I'll start with, like, my experience with definitely. It, just so you guys can understand that I
had that beginning.
I had a rough beginning to my fitness journey, which is why I'm so passionate about it, because I know that it's possible for anyone, because I did it.
Right.
And I was the last person that I would have, like, if you were to tell Hannah 6 years ago that I would be coaching CrossFit, dude, I would have laughed in your face. Dude. No, first of all, I would have been like, what's CrossFit?
Dude.
Didn't even know. Didn't know. We're like, what's that? Yeah. Let alone coaching it. Yeah, like, when I tell you between the gym and the Lord, I'm a different human being. you know, it really is. And I think it's not just the gym per se, it's just the effect that discipline has on your life.
Right.
And how that builds character, which is biblical.
Right.
Which is why I think taking care of your health, I know that taking care of your health is biblical.
Right.
Not only because our bodies are temples and we should take care of what God has given us, but also because the Bible talks about how important it is to be disciplined. And there is very few better ways to apply discipline to your life other than through like physical exercise. And pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in that way. So to start, my fitness journey did not start with CrossFit. My fitness journey started, I did sports all growing up, team sports. I did swimming in high school. I was an athlete. And then of course everything, once I got to college, went downhill because my mental health really started to suffer. And that's when I developed my eating disorder. And I was always very, very skinny, like growing up. I never had a lot of mass or anything like that on my body. I was always very tall and very lanky, which is why I made for a great swimmer. But any amount of muscle that I did have from swimming, I completely lost it. I had lost so much weight. It was very, very unhealthy. And so I didn't have the physical capacity to do anything at the beginning point of my quote-unquote fitness journey. Because I'm not talking about when I was in school, like high school or middle or elementary school where you're on a sports team. I'm talking about as an individual adult who does not play a sport, like if you're not on a college team, like, or you're not a professional, like you're not getting paid to do this, like you were just someone that is trying. You had to make the
decision to go.
Yes, to go on your own, to go to a gym.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the beginning of my fitness journey. So it started off when I was in college, and there was a summer where I was home, and Vlad was getting really into the gym, and he had been like also on and off with the gym before. Like he was really dedicated. He would go and work out at Amped Fitness at like 5:00 in the morning before high school, like every single day with a buddy of his. And then once we started dating, like we were just together all the time. We were eating all the time, and he just like, he was happy. He had a girlfriend. He was, he was living his life. And so then there was a summer where he was like, I want to get back into the gym, and he wanted me to go with him. And I was like I've never gone to a regular gym. Again, my only experience with exercise was through sports as a kid, or in high school. I had never went to like a regular gym like that. My only experience with it is like, when you're a kid and you go to a hotel or something and they have a hotel gym, Right. But that was new to me. And the gym that he wanted me to go to, you want to talk about gym-timidation? The gym that he wanted me to go to was right across the street from the firehouse. So all of the firefighters worked out there. And it's a very small gym. This Amped Fitness I'm talking about is very small. And so many people that we knew went there. And my social anxiety could never.
Like, what a start.
Can you, like, I'm like some skinny, frail, like, I'm like peak eating disorder. I have nothing on me. I don't know anything about the gym. Right. I don't know anything. All I know how to do is I know how to swim. Right. That's where my knowledge ended. And then he wants me to go and work out around all of his like buff firefighter friends, like these grown men. I did not want to do that. So I was like already really hesitant. And so we were going like fairly consistently. But every single time I hated being there. I was so anxious. I was so nervous. We would run into firefighters there, and I just like, I wanted to die. Like, I did not want to be seen by anybody. I would look at those machines. I had no idea like what kind of medieval torture like equipment is this. I was never going to the weight section where all of the big buff men were. I don't know how to, I couldn't, like, I was lifting like 5 pounds, okay? And I didn't know, I didn't have a plan. Right. I didn't have a coach. Right. I didn't know anything. So I'm following Vlad around like a puppy, and he's basically taking me through his workouts, but I don't know how to do anything, and I can't lift. I had, like, I'm telling you, I had no muscle at all. Like, I remember very specifically, Vlad was trying to teach me how to bench press, and it was just the empty bar, 45-pound bar. I couldn't lift it. Like, he put it down on me, and I was like, this is too heavy. Like, I can't do this. And I would just be like watching the clock. And the moment it hit an hour, I was like, okay, can we go? Like, time's up. Can we go? And Vlad would be like, all right, like, yeah, I've got one more set. Like, I'm almost done. He was so patient with me. I was not nice to be around because I was so anxious and I was so insecure and I hated being there. And so we did that for like a summer. I got no results from it. I because even though we were going, my headspace wasn't in the right place. I didn't have a plan. I wasn't focusing on progressive overload. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was just going there really to support Vlad because he wanted to. Then as eating disorder got worse and I was trying to like find a way to work out or something, I joined the Y because it was one of the cheaper options at the time. I joined the Y and I got a free like coaching session, like a one-on-one personal training session. So she's showing me around in the gym in the Y. Again, I would go in, I didn't know anything. I never had a plan. I didn't know what I was doing. I would just do some random sets on a machine and call it a day, basically. But I had this session with this woman. She was nice. She tried to teach me how to squat with a barbell and I couldn't do it. Literally, first of all, my squat form, God, looking back, atrocious, because I couldn't squat. I had such bad knee pain because I had chronic pain. It was bad. It was really bad. And I felt so embarrassed because she was like, yeah, like that's heavy, right? It's hard, right? And I was like, yeah, there's no weight on the bar. It was an empty bar and I couldn't squat it. Like thinking about where I started is just nuts.
Right.
So then, things started to continue. Later, I was going back home again for the semester. So like that was like the summer and then that was like the winter time into spring and now I'm going back home again for the summer. And Vlad had started CrossFit at this point to get in shape for firefighting. And that was when I've said now I'm caught up to where I started in the CrossFit episode. But I would go to the CrossFit gym with him and I would just sit on the bench and just wait for him to finish the workout. You want to talk about an intimidating environment?
Just watching, yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I think CrossFit is so much more helpful for someone who's new because you have a coach and because the workout is written for you. But the environment is extremely intimidating. I was more intimidating in that environment than I was in a regular gym. Because at least in a regular gym, everyone had their headphones in, they're doing their own thing. Business, but in CrossFit, it's community. Everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone is so nice. Everyone's doing the same thing. It was different. And I literally saw, who now is a coworker of mine, I saw her lifting a heavy barbell over her head and dropping it on the floor like a beast. And I was like, I will never be that. Like this is crazy. I'd never seen anything like it.
Right.
I'd never even been in a situation where I would see a woman lifting heavy like that. Because I never saw it in the Globo gyms. Because now, thankfully, we're in a time now where more and more women are entering the gym space and more women are trying to be strong and powerful. And I love that. At the time, that was not really a thing. Yeah. It wasn't popular yet. It was still all about cardio, being as tiny as possible. I had never seen a woman like lift a barbell like that.
Right.
Like that's crazy. So my point is, with all of that being said, is that I had felt so out of place. So I couldn't do anything. I had no prior strength, athletic ability, like again, unless I was in a pool and I was swimming. I had no knowledge. I had nothing. I started from ground zero when it comes to strength, knowledge, gym experience. Like it was terrible. Right. It really, really was. Do you have any experiences like with gym-timidation before we move on?
I mean, like I was saying, because the first time I ever went to the gym, it was like the Planet Fitness. I was with my dad. Yeah. And again, I was just kind of following him around. So I think I didn't really have any thoughts towards it until I went by myself.
Yeah, it's
and
different.
When I went by myself and I was like trying to put my headphones in, and it really does feel like me personally, I was like, everyone's staring at me.
Yeah,
like it feels like
that way.
Every single person is staring at me and every single person is judging me and thinks I'm stupid and thinks that I don't belong here. Like I think that's what gets you. It's like the overthinking of it, you know? Like you genuinely, like once you look at someone that like may be even having their site is just somewhere in your area, it just all goes downhill from there. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna die. Like this is horrible. So I think that was huge. But again, I think I was lucky enough that I did kind of I went with like my dad for so long that I was just like, okay, I at least knew how some machines worked. So I kind of just stuck to that, I kind of just stuck to what I knew. But again, I may not have been as intimidated to go to those parts, but you would never catch me in the weight section. You would never catch me in the section where, like, if there were mirrors on the wall, I was not going over there. Like, that sort of thing. So...
What about with CrossFit?
Yeah, I was going to say. So then, that was kind of my experience with the regular gym. But then CrossFit, I remember, I think... Obviously the first time, because I had no idea what CrossFit was other than like your Instagram stories,
right?
Where I was just like, all right, let's go, feeling all nervous. I remember you like literally messaging me like, wear running shoes. I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. Like I was like just again overthinking like to the masses beforehand, but I think you literally eased me into it so well, and you were saying like there's no need to worry, like I'm literally there the entire time. That was like a game changer, because once I even showed up and I saw you like writing down, you're like, we're gonna do it together, like and then the coach being so nice, like literally like you got it, whatever. I was just good, and I think it definitely was, and I think it helped too that my mental headspace was so different from like when I was going to the gym by myself to then, because I don't know, I think the reasons I was going was different too. Not saying like the reason I was going to CrossFit was I literally went once a month, go once a month. I was just going, to try it out and like be with you, whatever. But I think because I was going to that regular gym, I was almost like, I have to do this, because I want to look a certain way. I don't know. I just feel like the intent behind it was a lot different. So then when you're going, it's like I dreaded it more because like these people are staring at me, but I have to do it because
it feels like a chore.
Exactly. But I think that made a huge difference too, because then even when I was doing CrossFit, and I think that made a huge difference in like the way I was working out too, because when I was doing CrossFit, it's like, oh, like this is like I want a better, like this is a cool opportunity, like I actually want a better workout, I want to utilize this, like utilize the coach, like I don't know, I feel like it was just different in that way too.
You viewed it as an opportunity.
Exactly, instead of like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, And I think that just changed some things too. Not necessarily that that's related to like the intimidation part of it, but I think that was my experience with the different types of gym, working out, health, fitness journey. So
I want to like start by trying to not debunk per se, but maybe try to ease some people's anxiety when it comes to gym-timidation and what you're feeling. And then I'll get into like my tips on how to deal with it. Again, nothing is going to be a magic pill, because I'll just tell you right now, I've said this before, the hardest part of a fitness or health journey is getting started for multiple of reasons, because you're applying that discipline, and discipline is hard. For sure. So worth it, so beneficial to your life and to your character, but nothing worth doing is going to be easy.
That's good.
It's always going to be a challenge. That's the point. It's going to feel uncomfortable. That's the point. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone. So understand that nothing that I say is ever going to make it feel easy. Right. But hopefully maybe some of these things can help ease it a little bit and help you get on track better so that you can stay consistent. Because I would hate... And I've seen it where people, like, they go and they get started and then, like, they quit. And then you have to start that whole process all over again. And that's the hardest part.
I like to think, like, imagine, like, past Hannah stopping after she was intimidated. Yes. Like, I think that's so crazy because, like...
My whole life would have been different.
Isn't that insane? Because, like, imagine where you'd be if you do stop. Like, say you go to the gym tomorrow, whatever. Like, there's so much that could come from
what happened in the next 5 years, like, my entire life changed.
So
completely.
Crazy. That's
like,
so crazy.
My chronic pain went away. I got so much stronger. I've made so much progress with my relationship with food and my body. I have a career now.
That's what I'm saying. That's so crazy.
I've been able to help other people in that realm. Like, you have no idea what can happen if you just keep going. And everyone's story and journey is going to be different in its own awesome way. And I would love to see more people, start to do that. So first off is, this more applies to regular like Globo gyms of feeling like everyone is looking at you. Right. Here's the thing. So everybody else is thinking the exact same thing. Right. Every single person in that gym is worried about what other people are thinking of them. We're so self-absorbed. Everyone is only thinking about themselves.
It's so true.
And here's the thing. If there is that 1% of people that are looking and judging, okay, that sounds like a them problem. The gym is a place to go to better yourself. And all of those people there that you see that look amazing, or they seem to know what they're doing, and they seem so confident, they were once in your shoes. They once had to start in order to get there. And you're going to have to do the same thing. Right. And so just first and foremost is understand that everyone else is feeling the same way that you are.
Yeah.
I promise. Even for me, I'm not a fan of Globo gyms. And I can even and I know what I'm doing now. And I can even go and get a little intimidated, especially, man, I really feel for people now because the era of the influencer is crazy. And so many people, like if you go to like a local crunch or something, every single girl has a tripod set up and is recording and everything. So I can imagine the level of intimidation that you feel now. Right. However, especially with the weight section too, so many more women are going and dominating the weight section, making it more equal between men and women. There are big buff dudes there, and I promise you, they are so obsessed with themselves, sweetheart. They are not focusing on you. Yeah. They're not. They're just not. Go and, like, take up space. Go and claim a bench. Go get your dumbbells or whatever, and do the dang thing. I love that. Yeah. Second of all is, like, this is pretty obvious. I don't know a lot of people that go to Globo gyms without headphones, but just please, like, have headphones. It helps you get in the zone. Listen to the right music. Get in the right headspace. If you are going to a Globo gym, my first piece of advice, besides understanding that everyone is feeling the way you do, bring headphones, maybe even wear a hat or a hoodie, something that can help like block out what is going on around you, if that could help. But start on a cardio machine, depending on the gym. The gym that I had went to, the treadmills were on top of a loft, and I was looking over the whole gym. Because the issue, even if you have a plan when you go into a Globo gym, is you don't know what equipment's going to be available if you're going during a really busy time. Right. That can be really tough. So go on a cardio machine where you can see everything and you can know where to start. You should have a plan when you go in, but you might have to rearrange the order of your sets or what exercises you're doing, and you can decide that as you're warming up on a treadmill, walking, or on a bike or something like that, and you can look at what's available so you can make your plan of where to go first. That can be a good way to like listen to a good hype up song, get in the right headspace, get moving a little bit on the treadmill, and then look around at what's around you with a plan that you already have, because that's the next thing, to know where to go and start first. The second part of that is you need to have a plan. You are going to feel so much more stressed out if you don't know, if you're going in and you don't know what you're there for.
That's true. Yeah.
Because you're going to feel overwhelmed, and then what's going to happen is the availability of machines is going to dictate what you do. And not that that's bad once in a blue moon, but if that's what you're doing every time you go to the gym, then you're not applying progressive overload. You're not going to see results. You're just not, because it's too random. It's not too random. It's not intentional. So you need to have a plan. If you know someone that is in the gym that would be willing to help you write one, but also like you can buy plans online for not that much money.
That's true. Yeah.
And there are even apps that will make one for you, bro. Chat GPT will write you. Like if you ask Chat GPT to write you a bodybuilding split of how to split out your week, and then if you ask it to write you a workout, it will.
That's so crazy.
So even if that is where you're starting, start with some type of plan. There's too many resources available now for you not to start with a plan. There's just too many of them. So you need to go in with a plan, start on a machine or something where you can get a lay of the land, figure out where you're going to start. For people that are brand new to it, I really highly suggest having a friend to go with you if you can, if that's available, because that's going to help with the feeling intimidated.
Oh, for sure.
So much more.
If you're walking in with someone, it's completely different than when you're walking in by yourself. So much different.
Yeah. Especially, even if they don't know what they're doing either, at least you're, like, kind of going through it together. Yeah. But, especially if you have someone that does know what they're doing, that can teach you how to use the machines. Like, I've done that with some of my friends where, they're like, I did this with my friend a couple months ago, because she was starting to go to Crunch, and she was like, honestly, Hannah, I don't know how to use these machines. I don't know any movements. Like, could you show me? And I was like, yeah. So we went to Crunch together, and we literally just walked up and down, and I showed her how to use the machines, what the purpose of it was for. I showed her some different movements with the dumbbells. I gave her some, like, a basic plan to start out with. I love that, because it, like, if she were to have gone on her own, like, it wouldn't have she wouldn't have learned as much, or she might have gotten overwhelmed and just stayed on the treadmill because that's all that you know, and it's easy, and most of the time the cardio machines are out of the way and you don't feel as overwhelmed. So try to have like an accountability buddy to go with you if you can, because that does make a huge world of a difference. Like, can you imagine, like, that's why I love that my gym does the buddy days, because can you imagine being new to CrossFit and just walking into a CrossFit gym and having to start on your own?
I genuinely couldn't imagine,
Like, you can't, that's why, like, I don't understand why more CrossFit gyms don't do that, because I'm like, unless you know someone that does CrossFit, I'm like, what random person is going to walk in here and be like, I want to do that? I mean, some people will.
No, but like, I feel comfortable,
Like, the buddy days are perfect to getting people's foot in the door and showing them that the sport is not as intimidating as it looks and that it truly is for everyone. So I absolutely love that my gym does that. But yeah, so you need to have a plan.
Right.
Start on a cardio machine to figure out where you're going to start. Have someone with you if you can. Yeah. Bring your headphones, wear your hoodie or a hat or something to kind of keep your gaze down. Understand that everyone is feeling the exact same way that you are. You know, and for my girls out there, I know the time and day and age that we're living in, and so this might not be popular, but honestly, what has helped me in the past is, like, wear a big t-shirt and leggings, or a big t-shirt and even sweatpants or something where you're not going to be stressing out about what you look like in the mirrors of the gym and everything like that. If that's something that you struggle with, like, there are definitely periods of time I go through where I'm just wearing my big t-shirts because I'm not trying to focus on what I look like and focus, am I sucking in? Do I look okay? I'm just there to improve my health. Right. And focus on that. So sometimes that can be good to get out of your head in that way, and you're not going to really worry about what people are thinking of what you look like because you're covered up. Yeah. You know, like, modesty does come with that sense of security when it comes to that. You know, that's another thought just to throw out there. If you're very comfortable in that sense, then, like, you know, you do you. That's just, you know, something else out there for anybody else that might struggle with that. But yeah, having your plan, having someone to go with you, and like I said, it's going to be really, really hard. You know, like, when you're starting this journey, there's no way around
that uncomfortable beginning. Yeah.
And I just think we live in a time where people don't want to be uncomfortable, and people don't want to be the new guy. They don't want to be starting. And I think what makes it harder is on social media, when you are looking at fitness videos, very rarely do you ever see someone
at the beginning
recording and posting at the beginning. I have some videos from me from the beginning, but not even the beginning. And I wish that I did. I really do, because more people need to see that, because that's closer to reality than the person that's been lifting for 9 years and, you know, has great, perfect form and looks amazing and knows what they're doing and everything. But that would be another part of a tip, is follow the right people on social media. When I got started in this, I had to go through a huge detox and unfollow a ton of people on Instagram because I wasn't following the right kind of influencers. I was following people that it was really difficult for me not to compare myself, which isn't on them. That's a me thing, but it's my social media. I'm in control of what I see. Right. So if it's not going to benefit my mental health, I just got to get it out of there. Right. So I would unfollow those, and I would follow women or people that posted accurate, research-based facts when it comes to nutrition and the weight, fitness, weight fitness. Yes, thank you. And I would also, like, follow women that were focused on what their body can do over what it looks like. Yeah. Because that was huge for me to get out of my head in that sense. Right. So, like, you're in control of your social media. Right. Like, make it a place that is going to help encourage you with what you're trying to do, instead of make you feel less than because you're comparing yourself to someone's chapter 50 to your chapter 1.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's huge. And then I think the only thing that I would add that's helped me a lot is truly just taking, like, step by step. Yes. Like, whether it's going to the gym and truly taking it, like, step by step, machine by machine, like, workout to workout, like, focus on what you're doing. Because I think when you go into the gym and you're thinking about everything that you have to do, looking at every, you know, equipment thing that you are going to do
one
like,
set at a time.
Yeah, like someone's over there, like how am I going to get, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're constantly, because I struggle with this a lot, where I'm constantly thinking about what I'm going to do next and how I'm going to do it and who I might have to talk to on my way of doing it, you know, like that whole, like you'll get in your head and then that's just, again, you'll spiral from there. So I would say like step by step, and then just day by day. Because again, if you're thinking about it in the grand scheme of things, like, oh, I'm gonna start going to the gym, which means I have to do it this many times a week for this month. Like, you're just already exhausting yourself having to think about it. But if you just be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow, you know, and like start there, and then like, oh, actually, I'm gonna go to the gym the next day, you know. But like, you're just always taking it day by day, because it's not gonna be that huge, intimidating thing.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
I also think that goes into your goals as well.
Right.
Where, like, obviously, if you have, like, one big goal, then, like, that's awesome. But chunk it up into smaller goals that you can reach that week, you know, or something you could reach that month. Because having that big goal is awesome to keep you motivated to keep working towards it. But it also can be a double-edged sword, because you can feel really discouraged when you feel like it's taking really long to get there.
Right.
And so it's like, my biggest advice, this is especially for the ladies or anybody, that it's not a bad thing to want to change physically, right? If you're trying to gain muscle, if you want to lose fat, whatever, those are fine goals. But I don't think that should be what you're focusing on the daily or the weekly basis. That is something that you check in with every 3 months, you know, because it's going to take that long to see that kind of process.
Right.
You know, so for example, if you're someone that, like for me, I was trying to put on muscle mass. If I were to look at myself, which I do every day, I don't see a difference, because I'm seeing myself every day. And then it's so easy to be like, why am I even doing this? You get super discouraged. But I had a coach that told me, she was like, don't focus on what you look like, focus on the numbers. So I had increased my bench from 50 pounds to 55 pounds. It's such a small percentage of an increase, but I can see that. It's tangible. It's right there. The information is there. It's numbers. It's very easy to understand.
See the progress,
so I was like, wow, okay, like, do my shoulders or my pecs look that much bigger? No, they don't look any different at all. But
there's something
happening. I'm getting stronger. Or, hey, I couldn't do, when I first started, I could barely do a push-up on my knees. And then it was like, hey, push-ups on my knees are getting easier. That's a huge step of progress. And I remember for a long time, I think this was around the realm of maybe a little bit before COVID or during COVID, push-ups are a big weakness for me. They're a big weakness for a lot of women. And I had a goal to like be able to do 10 push-ups. And so I would record myself, and at first it started with, I was only able to literally do 1 at a time. And then I was able to do 2. And then I was able to do 3. Did my shoulders and my triceps look all that much bigger? No.
But you could just...
But I was like, oh my gosh, last month I couldn't do 1 push-up and now I can do 5. Like that's really big progress. So focus on the movements and the numbers in the gym. Because when you focus on that, you can see the progress every single time. And then not even only that, but like looking at your form, right? If you have a mirror, for me in CrossFit gym, they don't have mirrors, which I actually really appreciate, but I will record myself to look back at it later. And if you are like, okay, you didn't squat heavier this week, but your form looks better, that's progress. That means that you are able to take that same amount of weight and resistance and you're able to move it more smoothly with better form and technique. That's huge. And not enough people focus on that enough. It's all just about going heavier. But I'm like, but can you move well? Like, I'm not only focused on how much you can move, I'm focused on how you move in general.
Yeah.
You know? So focus, keep your goals on a daily to weekly basis based off of that. Again, take your progress photos, because there is change that's happening, but it takes a long time to be able to see it. Because for me now, when I look back at my pictures, I'm like, I was so tiny. And I
didn't just like wake up one day and you're like, oh, I'm
look at all this
way. Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to look back at it and be like, wow, the mass that I've been able to put on.
Right.
And the years that it's taken for me to be able to do that. So, and the only reason I was able to do that and keep going was because that's not what I was focused on. Not that it wasn't a part of my goals. I was still taking progress photos. I was still doing all that. But it wasn't my focus on a daily basis.
Yeah. Right.
So those would be my biggest pieces of advice when it comes to gym-timidation, and understanding, again, accepting the fact that the gym is an intimidating thing. Starting your fitness and health journey is an intimidating thing. Obviously, I'm biased, and I think CrossFit is the best because you're having a coach that teaches you how to do things properly, and you're having programming done for you, which is huge. And I think the community aspect makes it just makes it so much better, and it's never boring. So it works for me. For people with the Globo Gym, like, that's totally fine. Buy a program online, use ChatGPT to start if that's where you're starting, whatever it is. Try to go with a friend if you can, and just understand that everyone had to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's good.
Every single person. The fittest, most buff person did not come out of the womb like that.
Yeah, they had to start.
And I guarantee you that they didn't know what they were doing. They felt silly. They felt like they didn't belong, and you keep showing up anyway.
Pushed past it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so much more satisfying too. You know? It's almost like when you struggle with something and you push past that, and you can look back and say that you've grown.
Yes.
That's
what the discipline does.
More satisfying though than like if you just walked in and you're like, oh, this is so easy, and you keep doing it. You know, like you're like,
where's
wow.
the growth?
Exactly. I was able to go from bottom of the barrel.
That's the character building I'm talking about.
Right.
Is like being able to push past that and keep fighting, even though you're not seeing a lot of progress right now, and it hurts, and you're sore, and you feel intimidated, and you don't feel like you're doing anything right, and you're still going. Dude, gold medal, blue ribbon.
Yay. Yeah.
I promise you, imagine where you'll be a year from now. That intimidation, when you leave the gym, 20 minutes after you leave the gym, do you remember any of the faces of the people that were in that gym? Sure. Unless you have a crush on them and you're trying to, slide in that DM, that's different. But, do you, the people that you were afraid that were judging you, do you remember their faces?
Yeah. Guarantee
you, honey, they don't remember yours.
That's good, yeah.
I remember seeing a post about that because there's also a lot of intimidation, going to the beach, right, and wearing a bathing suit, and you're so afraid of what people are thinking of you. Yeah. And I saw this one girl post, and she said, do you remember what anybody at the beach looked like after you left? Right. No one cares.
Yeah, have you ever, gone and be like, wow, their body looks a little weird?
Yeah, be like, oh, wow, that person looked awful. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, if people have split in the second judgment, in the moment judgments, that's them. That's them. But you'll be darned to let that get in the way of your fitness journey.
Yeah, right.
The reward is so much sweeter.
Right. Yeah.
So I know some of it might have felt like repeat. I think this is good reminders, though.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes you have to drill it in,
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if, with the whole motivation versus discipline thing, if you're struggling and you're feeling intimidated and you're like, I don't want to quit, pick up a self-help book, like a motivating book. Or, listen to one.
Listen to our motivation versus discipline. Who cares about the sound? It's very encouraging. Yeah, figures.
Regardless, or I hope that maybe listening to this makes you feel, pumped up, and just understanding that you're not alone. Right. And find someone. Reach out to me if you need any help with anything.
Slide in against the current DMs.
I'm telling you, because I've been there.
Right.
And I'm on the other side now. And it's worth it. And you can do it. And you can make the progress that you're dreaming of. You got to be patient. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of discipline. But man, oh man, is it worth it.
It's so good.
And the intimidation is it's just a little voice in your head. And it's a liar. His pants are on fire. Because even now, as someone who knows what I'm doing, I can still feel like that sometimes. And I'm just like,
get out of here.
Get out of here, enemy. Come on. I'm here to get swole, roll, and Joel. I don't know.
So true. Swole, roll, and Joel. No.
Anyway.
But yeah, I think this would be... I love these episodes because not only, I would say they encourage me, but, I feel like, again, people just need the reminder, As a whole. Doesn't hurt to hear.
Listen, you know what we're in? We're getting into that season where people put off starting their health journeys because they're going to wait till the new year.
Yeah.
Because the holidays are coming up, and they're like, what's the point of starting if the holidays are coming up?
And then, New Year's right there.
New Year's is right there. I'll just wait. Start now.
Right.
It's September 17th, right? September to October, November, December. Imagine how much progress you could make in 3 months. 3.5 months.
Could go into that new year already,
you
on
could
your
go,
way. Yeah.
You could go into 2025 with already having a good amount of like knowledge, a good routine established in the gym. Like if you can start now and make it through the holidays.
And I think it'd be so cool too, because all those people that are intimidated by the gym in that new year that made that decision, you could be there for them, you know, because you'll be like, I was there, you know, 3 months ago. I know what it's like.
You're going to see a lot
you
of
have a little more experience now. You can be that for them.
You can
that person that you would have wanted to be there for you could be for them. Yeah.
And by 3 months, like you should be able to see some pretty like decent progress by 3 months if you're consistent and your nutrition is in check.
Right.
So it's like, imagine being done with this initial beginning phase by the start of the year instead of starting from the beginning.
So true.
Like, I want to start my fitness journey over again.
Like, I'm starting right now. What time is it?
Just to relive it.
It's almost 10:30. I'm starting right now.
I'm telling you. Just to relive it. Because it's just...
so special.
Embrace the journey. I'm telling you, embrace the journey.
It's wise.
And record, journal, take your photos. Like, you're going to look back and you're going to be so proud of yourself.
I love that.
Don't let the intimidation get you. You're loved.
I love it.
You're worthy. You have value.
So good.
All right, you guys.
So good. I know you missed us. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.